What's going on, guys? Dan from SSG bringing you another Edison Format match here. This time we have Rob on the left playing Lightsworns and Tim on the right playing Norleras Quickdraw. And we have Tim getting off to a fast start. Going to go ahead and activate Rhoda on turn 1 on the right side here. And we're going to see what he grabs. It has a few decent targets. I think we have a Stratos in the deck as well as an Armageddon Knight. Norleras Quickdraw, one of these like mid-rangey control decks that can kind of just combo off and end the game. And it looks like we have a Stratos here on turn 1 and a normal summon of Stratos to go grab, presumably Malicious. Malicious is one of the cards we can discard with back row discard traps, things like Wing Blast, but also we can discard it for Quick Draw for value. So we're going to grab Mally to the hand at a +1 on turn 1, and then a Foolish Burial. This is an unbelievable start for Tim, looking to send Dandelion here. And this is exactly what the Norleras Quickdraw deck wants to do. It just wants to get all of its engines going as fast as possible. You have a Mally in hand, Dandelion in the graveyard, tokens in play. You already received a +1 off of Stratos. A really strong opening here for Tim. And it looks like we have a Quick Draw here, so very fast. We're going to discard that Malicious, get in the graveyard, and drop a Quick Draw into play on turn 1. And Quick Draw just really strong. We play 3 copies in this Norleras build. It's similar to one that's on the channel posted, but we should probably do an updated list as this list has developed a lot over time. It was a brew made by our friend Sam from Locals, but we've been working on it and it's been performing pretty well in at our local level. And we have a Draw Warrior coming in from the 1 token and the Quick Draw. So excellent start. I mean, we got value going, we have a big graveyard, we have Draw Warrior, we have Stratos in play. Just a lot going on for Tim on the right, and he's going to discard that Titanial to banish the Draw Warrior to get an extra card on the following turn. We also have a set back row. And just unbelievable start. I mean, this deck just has a lot of extending plays, a lot of good turn 1 plays, things like Stratos, Future Fusion, as you saw, Quick Draw, Dandelion, just really strong opening, and he passes over to Rob. And Lightsworns can be a deck that takes a few turns to get going before you can get those powerful Judgment Dragons online. So we're going to see exactly what Rob is going to do here, and as you can see, we have a set monster on turn 1, which is kind of a standard play, looking to set a Raikou or something like that, and Tim just Wing Blasts it immediately in the end phase, discarding a Caius to the graveyard. And Tim is a little low on cards, but he has the Draw Warrior, he has the tempo advantage, he has Dandelion coming back to the hand now from Draw Warrior, and Raikou presumably on the top of the deck for Rob here on the left, and this tempo advantage is very powerful when we have a Caius coming back to hand, which can presumably play around the Gores that Rob might have. And Stratos comes in with a declaration of attack, going to attack Rob down. 1800 he takes, going down to 62. And then we have a direct attack from Draw Warrior. So this Quick Draw deck is just the power, right? Adding powerful normal summons like Stratos to your Quick Draw deck just gives the deck so much more functionality, so many more options, and it's so much faster. Now we have a Plague Spreader getting discarded to the Draw Warrior. Just unbelievable. A lot of these cards aren't played in traditional Quick Draw lists, but Tim just showing off the power of this toolboxy combo control type deck. And passing over to Rob, he has a ton of work to do, being at 3800. I mean, even a few hits from a half to Draw Warrior will just take him down at this point. And he's still facing down a token, a Stratos, a card in hand, and that Draw Warrior gonna be gaining card advantage over and over. We have a normal summon of Jane here. I like Jane in this deck a lot. I think Jane's one of the underplayed Lightsworns, as it declares an attack over the Stratos. Just really good at solving established boards, just coming in and attacking over big beaters. Looks like Tim is going to go down to 77 from that exchange. And just solid here. Jane's just a solid card. It sticks around quite often, which can help you set up for Celestia. It's a good card going second, which is, you know, something the Lightsworn deck tends to lack, cards that are good going second. And it looks like we mill over a Celestia and a Hamster from Rob on the left. Now Tim goes to turn, immediately brings back the Draw Warrior in standby phase, and we're going to add back a Dandelion again, just trying to accrue value, recurring that Dandelion over and over, getting more tokens into play. Tim is most likely going to look for a kill shot here, or he's going to just keep that Drill Warrior attacking directly. But yeah, we're just going to go for Caius, sack that token, and get the Jane out of the way. Potentially going for a lethal shot here. And now Tim reaching into his graveyard, pretty interesting play here. He's going to go for Malicious, so with lethal in play on board with both monsters being 2400 attack, I think Tim was trying to do is just play around Gores, not allow any sort of comeback play from Rob on the left, as the second monster would be getting walled by that token at 2400. So we have a Malicious coming out of the deck, and then a Plague Spitter coming out of the graveyard, stacking a card on top of the deck to do so. And synchroing. So we're going to see what Tim is going for here. I assume just a bigger monster than 2400. We're going to see exactly what his game plan is here for playing around the hand traps that Rob could have. And he goes for Colossal Fighter. Actually, this is a very smart play from Tim, because what he's going to actually be able to do is he's going to actually be able to half his Drill Warrior and present lethal. He can half the Drill Warrior to go down 1200 as he just activates it right there. And then the Colossal Fighter can attack directly for what is more than 28, and the Drill Warrior can attack through a Gores if Rob did have Gores. But so really strong sequence there from Tim, just playing around all the things Rob could have and just presenting lethal as fast as he can when he ends up opening a strong hand like that. So now we're on to game 2 here, and Rob is going to be on the play this time. He's going to open up with a set monster, which is just generally a good start in the Lightsworn deck. You want to be able to set your Raikos on turn 1 to interact with the opponent. You want to be able to set the Super Nimble Mega Hamster to get card advantage, also set up for cards like Celestia. So solid start here from Rob. We're going to see a Reinforcement of the Army again on turn 1 from Tim here. So like I said earlier, we have Armageddon Knight and Stratos for our 2 targets in this deck. And it looks like we're going Armageddon this time. Armageddon just providing access to your Norleras to set up for Phantom of Chaos. It can dump Malicious in the graveyard, Plague Spreader Zombie. Just a really strong toolbox card that's a one-of in this Norleras Quickdraw deck. So let's see what Tim is going to send here, and it looks like a Plague Spreader Zombie. Plague Spreader, just a really strong card out of the graveyard here. I don't mind sending Plague Spreader in this type of spot where you're just going to attack into the Armageddon Knight. Attack with the Armageddon Knight, but it's actually a hamster here, so this is definitely a positive tempo play for Rob. If the Raiko was set and not the hamster, then trading the Armageddon would be very favorable for Tim, since he basically just nets a Plague Spreader in graveyard in exchange for a 1-for-1. But this time, hamster sticking around and setting a Raiko, so Tim is forced to pass the turn after setting a back row here. And Rob draws for turn. So I think Rob is definitely ahead on tempo here. He's going to be able to flip that Raiko. He's going to be able to sack for Celestia if he wants to do that. The hamster can even start getting into battle if he wants to go and pop the Armageddon Knight with the Raiko. So we're going to have a flip summon of Raiko here. And it looks like he targets the back row, and Tim changed Dust Shoot. So interesting hold on the Dust Shoot there, looking to bait out the activation of Raiko onto the back row. So pretty interesting there, didn't just auto flip it in the standby phase. But it looks like we have a hand of Honest, Lumina, Judgment Dragon, and Raiko for targets on the Dust Shoot, and then we have Monster Incarnation as well as Charge of the Light Brigade. So I think taking any of the Lightsworns would be not great, because you can just search them out. He's just going to take the most powerful card in Judgment Dragon, which makes a lot of sense here. Just that's generally what you want to do. If the game is going to go long enough for the JD to be live, then you definitely just want to get it out of the hand. Don't allow any of that nonsense. JD can just steal so many games and win in positions that seem unwinnable. And Rob milling over a Plague Spreader Zombie forces troubles here when he flips over the Raiko. So pretty strong mill as well. So both players having access to Plague Spreader Zombie out of the graveyard as early as on turn 2. So very powerful here, and Rob has some options with that Plague, right? He can go into a 6 right now, steal the Armageddon Knight. With Goyo Guardian, he can go into Armory Arm right now if he has some sort of normal summon, as well as on top of that, he can do some really strong, interesting plays, and Plague Spreader just really powerful, and Lightsworn just having access to it out of the graveyard. makes for a bunch of different plays and just gives you a lot of different tools to work with. But Rob, considering his options here, I think if you're the Lightsworn player in this spot, you don't really want to commit too much to the board. It looks like we have Charge of Light Brigade, milling Avarice, Arcus, and Celestia, and we're going to search a Jane here. Jane, one of my favorite Lightsworns, man. This card just grew on me over time. It's just really, really strong in Edison format, in my opinion. It breaks Blackwing boards. It's just excellent. It's just good in so many spots. So we're going to search Jane here. And as I mentioned, there's not really a huge incentive to go for a Plague Spreader play or anything like that. I think Rob just wants to add to the board and just attack. And looks like it is. So we have a normal summon of Jane there, if we can ignore some of that glare. But the hamster goes to attack position, and Jane commits an attack onto the Armageddon Knight. And that brings Tim down to 6,900. We have to attack directly with Ryko. So that's going to bring him down to 67, and then 1,100 with the hamster. So Rob, I like this play from Rob, just like not committing too much, just poking down, making Tim do something. And Jane providing an 1,800 stick is probably going to make Tim have to actually commit some sort of cards to deal with it. And Rob actually mills over a wolf in the end phase with his 2 mills from Jane as next to Gores in the graveyard as well. So wolf being added to this board, and now Tim is kind of in trouble. He's basically dead on the swing back if he doesn't do anything. So he needs to make a play very quickly and now, and luckily he has the Plague Spreader engraved to try and make that play. However, with Rob just having so many cards, like the Ryko was free off of the hamster, the wolf was free off of the milling, he just has a lot of cards here, and Tim is going to have to do something about the card advantage, but also the board state. And this is just one of the powerful openings from a Lightsworn deck, even without something like a fast JD. But Tim looking to fight back here. He's going to drop a Foolish Burial. He has access to many things. He can go for a Malicious to set up that Plague Spreader Mally play out of the graveyard. He can go for Dandelion, potentially have a Debris follow-up. But it looks like he goes Treeborn Frog. So that's not the greatest look for Tim, just because it's a little bit of a slow card in this situation, facing down 4 monsters. But nonetheless, he does send it, and he's going to summon a Stratos into play now. Stratos is now going to go search the Malicious. So that Treeborn Frog kind of a little kind of just setting up for future turns. But if you're if you're looking at this game from a bird's eye view, it doesn't really look that strong because Rob has the potential just to kill him on the following turn. So the Treeborn might not actually add anything to this game, but Tim maybe has some sort of follow-up in his hand that he believes that he can live with. And sending the Treeborn might set up for future Caiuses or something like that. But we have a declaration of attack with the Stratos onto what I believe is the Ryko. Just trying to go for damage. And Rob thinking here, so potentially having an Honest. And he does drop an Honest down to keep the board clear on Tim's side. So let's see what he attacked. Yeah, so he attacked the Ryko, so he's going to take 200 here. Down to 54, and Tim just passes. I mean, this is just insane. Like, I don't like the Honest seems a little like insane, but I mean, Rob is going off right now. Like, he just has so many monsters in play, and Tim is just completely under pressure. And Rob is kind of giving Tim what he got and what he had in the first game. You know, both players just showing off their decks here in a lot of power in both decks. And now we have Plague Spreader coming back out of the graveyard to synchro with that hamster here. And he's going to go for Goyo Guardian. So pretty interesting Goyo here. I think he's looking to just play around Gores or Tragodia, being able to take it once he declares an attack with Jane and Wolf. The Goyo Guardian will then be lethal. So the Gores would have to come down before the Goyo attacks, meaning the Goyo can then declare an attack onto the Gores and take it, denying Tim any sort of like big board or 2-monster board that can potentially pick apart at Rob's position. So we have a small attack with Ryko here, the first attack here, bringing Tim down to 5,200, and then we have the 18 coming in from Jane, and he's going to take that as well. going down to 34, and now Wolf coming in. So let's see. Oh, Tim is thinking here. So the 2100 comes in, and then Gores comes down. So Rob making an interesting play, just kind of playing around Gores for free, essentially, by just committing the Plague Spreader out of the graveyard. And then Tim does have the Gores, so a little bit of a reward there from Rob, as he's most likely going to declare an attack onto that Gores to deny Tim just a big body in play. And yeah, so he's going to attack down the Gores with Goyo Guardian, take the Gores, and now Tim is just left with that 2100 token, which is pretty small in comparison to Rob's board. I mean, Rob has two monsters that are bigger than it, as well as the Wolf that's walling it. So Tim is going to have a miracle draw here. I mean, something with like some sort of access to Black Rose or something like that, and even then he's wasting his whole turn to do that. And but we'll see. We have Treeborn Frog in the graveyard, and Tim is still alive, so that Treeborn will potentially come into play. We're fanning out Rob's graveyard here, taking a look at what's going on there. Looks like he has 3 Lightsworns, yeah, 2 Celestias, and Lumina and Arcus. So JD's not live yet, but it doesn't look like he'll need JD in this game unless something drastic happens. But it looks like Rob actually activates the Monster Reincarnation to add back the Honest. So this is a fairly aggressive play from Rob, but I kind of like it, as he mills over a Lumina and a Cold Wave in the end phase with the Jane's Milling 2 ability. I mean, with Honest coming back, now Tim has to play around the battle phase completely. So like, it's basically some sort of Black Rose or bust here. Just like Rob going -1 to add the Honest, it just threatens lethal in so many different ways, whether it be on this turn, Tim can't really make any profitable attacks, or on the following turn, where Rob can just like summon any light monster and just lethal Tim if Tim leaves something in play. So really interesting play there, just grabbing back the Honest. And now Tim has that standby phase Treeborn Frog that did get Foolish Barreled on the previous turn, but we're going to see if it actually does anything here. Of course, Tim has a Plague Spreader Zombie in graveyard. He has something to do. But we're going to need a lot here from Tim on this turn if he's going to have a shot at coming back in this game. And with Rob at a full life total, it's also going to be hard to just kind of cheese him out of the game. So Rob with all of the power in all aspects of the game. And we have a Caius here being tribute summoned by sacking that Treeborn Frog. We're going to see what Caius is going to target. Looks like he banishes the Goyo Guardian, so getting the biggest monster off the board on Rob's side. So now we have a 2400 Caius as well as a 2100 Wolf token on Tim's side. But I'm still facing down a big Gores. You have the Wolf here and Honest in hand. Like, Caius can't attack into that Wolf right now because it's just lethal. So Tim in a really bad spot, and he needs to even like get rid of the Wolf, right? Because Wolf can just like attack into Caius and present lethal on the following turn. So really tough spot here. And but now we have Plague Spreader Zombie coming back out of the grave, and this is why we play these type of extending cards in the Norleras Quickdraw deck. It just gives the deck more options. You know, Malicious, Plague Spreader Zombie, those cards aren't generally in every Quickdraw deck, so just giving you more options in tight situations is very strong here. But we have a Colossal Fighter in defense position, which is not the greatest look. You know, I think it could potentially buy Tim time, but with Judgment Dragon live, with something like a Celestia that can come down, just a lot of ways to be able to deal with that Colossal Fighter. So we're going to see what Rob does here, or maybe the Colossal does buy Tim some time and give him access to more turns going forward. Tim trying to wall up here and stall for time, basically to just like try to out anything, you know, just try to, it's going to take multiple good draws, but Rob isn't even going to allow for that. He's going to pay 800 down to 72 and take that Colossal Fighter, and I think Tim is reading them and weeping them right now, as Colossal is just gonna get taken and probably be lethal here. Colossal goes over to the other side, goes to attack position, as well as the Gores to attack position. And I remember Rob making a joke here, like saying that he's gonna beat Tim with his own 2 cards. The Gores taking down his own Gores token, and then the Colossal Fighter making a direct attack. So pretty awesome game there. Just extremely powerful draw from the Lightsworn deck, and no JDs, no Lumina combos, just like getting card advantage off Raikou and Hamster, and those cards just end up in play for like the majority of the game. So very strong here. But Tim has the play now in game 3, as we have a set monster and a set back row on turn 1. So both decks just showing their ultimate like power in games 1 and 2. Tim with that insane turn 1 with in game 1 with like searching Malicious with Stratos and dropping Quickdraw into play and setting up Play Shredder Zombie on the first turn, and then Rob just setting Hamster into insane card advantage and basically basically unbreakable board position. But it looks like Rob is gonna activate Foolish Burial here on turn 1, sending the Wolf, and I like this. I think Wolf is just excellent in a spot like this. Just maybe bait out something like a Bottomless Trap Hole, maybe attack into a potential Raikou or something like that. But it looks like we're going to respond to the Wolf activation of the graveyard with Trap Dusty, revealing a hand of Heavy Storm, Wolf, Beckoning Light, JD, and Honest. And Tim taking the Honest here. Honest, yeah, I think Honest is a great choice here, as JD is not going to be live anytime soon. So we're going to take that. And then Wolf comes in and attacks a Treeborn Frog. So Treeborn Frog, Trap Dusty on turn 1 for Tim, which is pretty solid. I think Tim has chained the Trap Dusty to maybe play around something like a Celestia. But yeah, overall Trap Dusty just doing a powerful thing, but also the information is really powerful, as a Caius comes down in the main phase here from the standby phase, Treeborn Frog coming back and banishing that Wolf and attacking directly. And Tim knows the coast is clear. There's no Gores in hand, there's no Tragodia, anything like that. And now we have a reinforcement of the army, and Tim is playing really fast now. He knows he's very ahead because of the information. I think the information is more important than the actual card in this situation that Trap Dusty has taken, and that's just sort of the power of opening Trap Dusty on turn 1, as I kind of like to allude to in my profiles quite a bit. And we saw Armageddon Knight go to the hand with Tim's reinforcements of the army there. So just looking to get another extender in the graveyard on a future turn. But now we have a top deck of Solar Recharge from Rob, discarding that Dead Wolf, drawing 2 cards, milling over a Card Trooper and a Brain Control. Brain Control, one of those cards that could really help him get out of a position like this, just flip the tempo. Unfortunately, milling that over. But Rob's looking at his graveyard, so maybe he has some options here. Of course, he has the JD, hoping to get that live at some point in this game. And we have Charge of Light Brigade, so pretty awesome here. We have Pot of Avarice going, as well as JD and Lila. So more Lightsworns hitting the graveyard, and then a Search of Raikou. So Rob looking to build that graveyard, just try and get back into this game. Of course, Caius just like kind of wins like the tempo battle so easily whenever it comes down, and also attacking for 24, leaving Rob in this kind of spot where he's kind of digging for some sort of answer. It looks like he's most likely going to have some sort of defensive setup with Raikou just to trade with the Caius. But we're going to see what he ends up deciding on here. Thinking about setting a defensive position monster. Still looking at his graveyard, maybe trying to see if he can get the 4 in the grave on this turn for JD. But he is going to set the Raikou. Or, you know, set a face-down possession monster, presumably a Raikou. And Raikou might be pretty good in this spot, just trading with the Caius and getting more Lightsworns in the grave. But standby phase, we have Treeborn Frog coming back for Tim here. So let's see what the main phase play is going to be for him. And we have another copy of Caius here. This is an unbelievable start from Tim, just banishing the Raikou, just completely ignoring it, and 24 coming in direct, and another 24. I mean, this is turn 1 Trap Dust Shoot set Treebun Frog, turn 2 Caius, turn 3 Caius. This is just unbelievable, and this is kind of like what a lot of Frog decks can do, or just any quick draw deck that plays Treebun Frog, just having access to the card and multiple Caiuses in your deck anyway. You can kind of have this like swap froggy kind of draw here, where you just get a turn 1 Treeborn into grave and then just Caius people completely out of the game. And now Rob is at 800, facing down two 2400 monsters. Both threats are lethal, and they're just big. And in Lightsworns, it can be hard to deal with that if you don't have access to your powerful monsters like JD. But Rob is going to activate Martian Reincarnation here, discarding Heavy Storm, which is a fairly dead card in the matchup. Adding a Lila. Also, adding Lila here, potentially, most likely looking for recharge. So yeah, Solar Recharge. Gonna draw 2 more cards and mill 2 over. We have a mill of Honest as well as Beckoning Light. Rob just trying to dig and trying to find some answer here. Just Caius just put people in such a bad spot, and when you have a normal summon based deck like Lightsworns, where you're setting a Raikou or normal summoning a Jane every turn, Caius can just completely blow you out of the game, especially when you can drop multiple copies in succession here. And yeah, I think Rob is just going to fall a bit short here, because we don't have enough Lightsworns in the graveyard, and if he is thinking this much about his turn, I think it probably is a wrap here. And yeah, so we have a concession and a handshake there. So pretty awesome game, just insanely back and forth, like just one game after another, just powerful openings back and forth. And sometimes it can really be dictated by who goes first, but also just what kind of draw the decks have. And I think both decks sort of showed their power in this format. Lightsworn's just kind of grinding, getting a lot of card advantage in that game too. Tim's Norleras Quickdraw deck just getting a lot of value with cards that aren't typically played in traditional Quickdraw lists. But let me know what you guys thought about the gameplay as well as the commentary in the comment section below. And without further ado, this is Dan V from SSG signing out.